Welcome to the But Also Trail Running Podcast. I'm your host, Celeste Fong. Let me start with a warning that this is an adult-only podcast. There will be profanity and indecent conversations. I would apologize, but I'm not really sorry. Although, I think tonight will probably be the tamest conversation because I'm going to be on my best behavior because my guest tonight is the one and only Michael Lo Presti. Say hi, Michael.
Hello, Celeste. And don't just be yourself around me like you are during our races and it'll be perfectly fine.
Well, yeah, I'm usually kind of on good behavior around you all the time.
Interesting. Okay. I'll remember that next time I pass you at that hamster wheel or we cross paths at somewhere. All right. Good to know.
No, okay, I don't have good behavior. Let's be honest. Anyway, for those of you that don't know, I've known Michael now, it's got to be at least 10 years, right?
Probably, right? Yeah. At least 10 years.
Yeah. So you kind of are the creator of the Connecticut Trail Mixers, which is, at this point, it's huge, like the membership. I mean, how many members do you guys have? I don't even know.
Yeah, I think it's about, we usually get a couple hundred paid members throughout the year, but the Facebook group, I think, is over 3,000 now and it's a pretty good active community. Yeah, that's where we crossed paths was through running, right?
Yeah, and it's funny because I actually went to high school with your younger brother. He was a couple years
we
older
found that
than
out.
me,
Yeah.
but yeah. So I've kind of known of your family for more years than we'd like to admit to.
Cog and Chog Blue Devils.
Cog and Chog Blue Devils. I was just telling my kids about cheerleading back then. God. Yeah, we were just talking about it, and they made fun of me. So that was warm and fuzzies. Anyway, so you, not only are you obviously very active in the running community, and you've done a ton for like charity and all that kind of good stuff, but you're also one of the most inspirational people I know. And I thought that before all the health stuff. Okay. But I just want to give a little background before we get into what you did last week. But how old were you when you started running?
I ran a little bit in elementary, like middle school and high school, but nothing, it was all forced on me. Like I didn't like it. So really started running was probably 1998, 1999. I had just gotten married to my lovely wife, Sarah, and we celebrated our 30th anniversary last year. But I was falling into the trap of too much time on the couch, too much time on the chair at work. And I was at least 50 pounds heavier than I am now and got back into running after being inspired by my father, who was a lifelong runner. So I would say late 90s is what kicked it off. And my first marathon was in May 2000.
Wait, so you started running in the late 90s and like almost immediately went to marathon?
Within a few years, yes.
Impressive. And then it was like a rolling snowball downhill. Like you went all out.
Yeah, it was. I've heard stories that you can classify people who run a marathon. Either they're like they crossed that finish line and they're done and they've checked it off their list, right?
One and done.
Or you cross that finish line and you're like, I can't wait for the next one. I was definitely, I can't wait for the next one. And yeah.
And then it grew. So how many, because you count marathons and ultras all as one number, right?
Yes.
All right. How many are you at? Because I know when you had the surgery, it was like what, 106-ish?
It was 105 before the surgery. Then 106 was the successful return after the surgery. I think I'm at 141 now for fiscal marathons and ultras.
All right. So 141 marathon or more.
Marathon or longer. Yep. Yeah. And these are official races, not just like long group
training runs. Right. What's your longest distance?
Longest distance was last year's across the year's race. So it's a 6-day ultra marathon in Peoria, Arizona.
Uh-huh.
And you're given a 1.4 mile loop to run as many times as you can in 6 days, which is 144 hours. You can take breaks, you can nap, you can eat, you can sleep wherever you want to do. I got 377, I think, 0.8 miles there last year. It was my longest.
Insane to me.
Longest distance.
And I'm crazy, but that's just mind-blowing. Oh, and because I obviously know about your health. So let's talk about that for a second so people can really understand like what that, because that's insane for anybody. But go back and tell us about your health scare and what that was all about.
Sure. So it was probably the mid 2007, 2008. I had stepped into the world of ultra running. I was working my way up from marathon to 50K to 50 miler to 24 hours. So just kind of building up and really getting excited by that world. When a routine doctor's visit, I had some high blood pressure. And he said, you had high blood pressure last year too. And it's unusual because you're a vegetarian and, you do a lot of running. So let's do some testing. So we did an echocardiogram and they discovered I had an aneurysm, which is a bulge on my aorta that was primarily caused by a faulty aortic valve. So most people's aortic valves have 3 flaps. Mine, I was born with 2. This was a birth defect.
But you didn't know about this birth defect, correct?
Not until 2008, not until my running career. So, after the cardiologist calls you back and says, "Hey, we got to talk," that put a bit of a damper on my running career for a while. But over time, after taking some time off and actually gradually building up my mileage, the aneurysm had been stable for the longest time, and I was getting back into long distance races until 2022. So ultra marathon number 105 was the 50-miler Antelope Canyon race out west, put on by our friends at Vacation Races, which do great races.
Yep.
And after that race, I came back to do my regular annual cardio visit. And lo and behold, the aneurysm had suddenly grown large enough where surgery could be recommended. So we had a heart-to-heart with the cardiologist and decided to move ahead with the surgery, which was full open heart surgery. So they, I think it was May 27th, they went in and they cleaned up the valve. They didn't replace it, but they cleaned it up and they sectioned out the damaged part of the aorta and replaced it with some kind of artificial sleeve, sewed it all together and closed me back up. And I'm a proud member of the Zipper Club, but that took 6 weeks of healing before I was able to clear to go running again. But that was that run back after 6 weeks, that first 2-mile really slow run was one of the best runs of my life to be able to get back to doing that.
It's amazing to me that you did all that stuff not knowing what was happening. Then you found out and had 14, 15 years of ultra running before any change. And then it was 6 weeks recovery. I'm sorry, but 6 weeks is not that long.
Yeah, it's not.
If you think about it.
Yeah, when they go in. So 6 weeks was the okay to start running. So it took a while to fully recover. But yes, 6 weeks to be able to start putting some stress on your cardio system after going through that was definitely, it's a big deal.
Was it scary?
It was scary. Yeah, it was there were moments of terror, but there were moments of sheer delight. And it's a surgery that does have some risk anytime they do something like that. So there was that fear when I was going under, like, this is the last time I'm going to see my family kind of thing. But I had very good doctors. And the fact that I was young and healthy going into this, all that really was working in my favor toward the whole surgery and the recovery. And the best news coming out of it, besides giving the clearing to run, was the no restrictions on fitness or exercise. So I can go back to doing core stuff. Not that I do a lot of core stuff. No restrictions on distance or anything. So everything is actually in better shape than it was before.
It's so amazing to me. And your first race after that was Hartford?
Yes. So you referenced that journey. So my recovery mantra was the path to 106. So I really wanted to get in shape enough to run marathon number 106. So the surgery was in May. The Hartford Marathon, I think, was the first week of October, like 4.5 or 5 months later or so. So yes, that was a very special race. And I was slow, but I know it's a cliche, I savored every step. I savored walking to the start line. I savored high-fiving the people out on the course. And my wife was at the finish and my daughter surprised me at the finish. And it was one of the best moments of my life, was being able to get back out there and be part of what I was doing again. And that was a very special day.
And then you went, was it 2023 that you won hamster wheel?
Yeah. So after Hartford, I started like, what else can I do now? That's when I started getting into like, that's when I started really exploring 24-hour races and multi-day races. And I kind of had this kind of go-kart to say, kind of life is short and I want to see what else is out there. So yeah, in 2023, right? Yeah, 2023, yeah, I guess so. I'm losing track of the years. The year after, sorry, Hamster Wheel was the 30-hour race up in New Hampshire. I had won the 30-hour the year before surgery, took a year off after the year of the surgery, and then the year after the surgery, my second time running Hamster Wheel, I got lucky enough to win the 30-hour again.
Yeah.
So that merited the Hamster Wheel tattoo.
Yeah, I always support all tattoos. We know this.
Yeah, I know you do. You got me hooked too.
Yeah.
Yes.
All the tattoos. I have one scheduled for next month. No, this month. No, next month. Anyway, I have one scheduled from a joke from Hamster Wheel, but we won't discuss the joke because it's inappropriate. But
it's me, and I'm on the podcast with you, right? So what's
it has to do with Danielle because I have on my back. I have you met Danielle tattooed, like the HYMD. And then we get this huge joke between a bunch of us. So yeah, I'm getting that done. But anyway, you live once, like you said, you live once.
Yep.
And you never ever know what tomorrow's going to bring. Like I look at someone like you, right, who's healthy and active, and I mean, because you're vegetarian or are you vegan? You're vegan, right?
I'm fully vegan now. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, like, so you're healthy, and if something can happen, like you just never know.
Yep. One thing I've shared with people who listen to stories like this was just my doctor, my regular PCP on a hunch, doing some extra testing on me. So that it shows the importance of going to your doctor and just paying attention to yourself, because in this case, sometimes you hear of athletes passing out or dying at the end of a marathon or a race.
Yeah.
Oftentimes it is their aorta is rupturing because they have an aneurysm that was undetected.
Yeah.
So I know not to scare people, but knowledge is power in this situation.
That happened to a friend of ours, and without her permission, I'm not going to mention names, but she crossed a finish line at one of the O races. I think it was O Niantic, and an aneurysm in her brain. Her brain exploded, and she went down. And it just so happened that a medical professional was at the finish line who had run it and started working on her, and they were like, "Oh, you're not, she's not going to make it. Get to the hospital." They didn't think she would ever walk again. And the following year, she went back and won her age division in that O Niantic race.
Yep. I know what you're talking about. It's a pretty amazing story.
Yeah, she's a total I got to have her on the show, but I don't want to say names without her permission. Not that she'll care, but you never know when that kind of stuff is going to happen.
Yes.
So living life. So now that we know, like you had this amazing story, like a before, a during, an after. And since then, you've really started amping up because you did like 120 at Hamster Wheel a couple times, right?
Yep.
And then you started getting into the multi-days.
Yeah. I think Notch View was probably my first multi-day, probably 3-ish years ago. So Notch View is the 72-hour up in the Berkshires.
Yeah.
By our friend Ben Griffin. And I think you and I have crossed paths there many, many times.
Yep. One of my favorite races.
Is it your favorite race? I can see why.
It's definitely one of them. I have Notch View tattooed on my shoulder.
I know you do. I'm getting my Notch View tattoo on Saturday, as a matter of fact. I can't wait to show you when it's done.
Oh my God, I'm so excited.
And it's not the shed with the sunlight. It's a different thing.
Excited.
Yeah, Notch View. I had 2 really hard years at Notch View. I think the first year I bagged it like mile 76, and that was the year after my surgery. So I was like, okay, I'm still getting used to things.
I mean, 76 after that is amazing. So
yes, thank you for the perspective. You are right.
76 is amazing no matter what. Let's be real here.
That's true. But I wanted more. And then the following year, I made it. You can totally mock me for this. I made it to mile, 93, and I had my blisters were so bad. I was probably doing like 45-minute mile things, and I didn't have the patience to do that to even reach 100. So I bailed. And I was like, I'll come back someday. And then last year was a comeback year. Last year was probably my best running year ever, and came back and did the full 3 days, and I made it 2 nights without sleep, and I got my, I think, 216 miles, which I was so happy for. It was such a good,
216?
yeah, yeah.
Damn, that's good.
I was so happy with Nashville. It was such a healing experience after doing what was pretty poorly the first couple of times.
I mean, we've all been there. We've all done
Yes.
that. So I get that. Was that the year of the torrential downpours?
No, that was one of the years I stopped early.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we did have rain this year, right? We had a couple hours in one afternoon, right, of rain.
Oh, so yeah, last year, because last year was the year I threw a temper tantrum and went home for 24 hours.
Oh, did you?
And then came back. I did like 70 miles. I got pissed. I went to Connecticut. I slept for like 20. I was so sick, and I was a bad year for me last year. And I came back to do the 40 miles to get to 110 or whatever it was.
That's the cool thing about multi-day. When it's local like that, you can do that.
Yeah. Yeah. That's amazing. And Notchview is an amazing race. Like, the community there is phenomenal. I know there's some gonna be trying for 300 next year.
Oof. I can't imagine that.
Yeah. I mean, that's 300 milers, 3 sub 24-hour 100 milers in a row, if you think about it.
I cannot imagine that. No. And it's not a mountainous trail course, but it's certainly not an easy trail. I mean, there's enough hills in there and some technical sections, and
yeah. Well, the hills get to you eventually, right?
Yeah.
Because even a small hill and it's a 1.9 mile loop, so you're doing it 100 times. Like,
yeah,
it's a lot of climbing.
It is a lot. Oh. But I think I suspect one of the reasons you and I like the loop races so much, at least one of the reasons I do, at least, is I like seeing people. So yeah, I'm an introvert by nature, and I run strongest when I got my music going. I'm kind of in the zone. But I do like seeing friends on the course and high-fiving and cheering and stuff. And some of my biggest Notchview memories are of you shouting my name at 2:30 in the morning when we're all stumbling around and you've got your gaggle of friends, and those are very meaningful to me, Celeste. I mean that sincerely.
Oh, thank you.
So, thank you.
Well, I think for something like that, though, it's a good way to not have to use a social battery, but still get a social battery charge.
Yes.
Because you could be listening to your music and have, I don't want to say isolation, but like not having to really socialize, but then also getting the pick me up and the joy from the people around you.
Yes. Yep. And giving it back too, right? High-fiving everyone else and cheering other people on, and all that makes a difference in our community when we're doing these things.
It really does. And again, like, you don't have to have a long conversation, but just a hi. Like, I know personally when I'm like down, which is one of the reasons I do so well at these courses, and I start seeing people and I can distract myself with them, I forget I'm in pain.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Or I forget that I'm suffering, or I get out of my head because I play mind games with myself, which isn't great. Hamster wheel's really good in that way because it's out and back.
Yes.
So I'm constantly seeing people.
I love that out and back. I know some people hate it. I love it.
I love it. It's so funny. One year when we were running with Art, and he's like, Celeste, you know a story about every single person here. I'm like, that's because I've talked to every single person here. The biggest problem with that for me, though, is because I do talk to like every single person I come in contact with. Like, I don't remember everybody. And then I feel really guilty because like the next year they're like, Celeste. And I'm like, I don't know you. Like, I'm sorry.
It's hard to remember people from race to race. But no, you probably leave a very strong impression on people. So they'll remember you from
well, like I'm right. Like I have this obnoxious bright hair. I've got the tats. I've got a big mouth with zero filter. So yeah, It's kind of memorable.
It is. It is memorable.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
But it's also fun.
It is.
All right. So now that we know a little bit about your history and some of the races you've done, and now it's a good transition, right? Because Notchview got you over 200 miles. Was that your first 200 miler?
Let me think. No, that was my third time breaking 200. But it was the first time on the trail doing it.
Where did you do it first?
So first was across the years from 24 to 25. the one I talked about earlier.
Oh, right.
And
That was your PR.
that was my distance PR.
And
And
then
then there was another 6-day in April of 2025, so about a year ago. That was 6 days on a track, and that was 303 miles. But that was a track. So the Notch View was the first time breaking 200 on an actual trail course.
wow. But okay, 300 miles on a track.
Yeah, on an outdoor track in southern New Jersey, like a shade less than a quarter of a mile. Imagine doing that for 6 days.
Oh my God. I have no words. I'm like, part of me goes, oh, okay, I would love it, but I would hate it. And I'm like trying to think because part of the reason like I've never done ghost train is I know when I get in my own head, being like, oh, to go out for 15 miles in my head sounds like a lot, right?
Yeah, it
Even
does.
though based on what we do, it's not, but like in my head it is. Whereas like going out for a quarter mile is nothing. Or going out for 2 miles at
Yeah.
Notchview, nothing. Okay, I'll do one more loop. Okay, I'll do one more loop. Does that make sense?
Yep. It's much harder to bring that mindset to something like Ghost Train, right? Where it's each step to the next section is a huge commitment of time and energy and emotion.
Right. And I'm a very psychological runner. Like it's in my my race is going to go based on my mood.
Okay.
And I'm not always able to get out of it. So it's more self-doubt, I guess. That feeling of I can't, even though I can, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. I hope you're over the imposter syndrome because you are good at these things and you've got really good endurance and you've got the right mindset for it. You've got the energy for it. So but doubt is also very natural, right? You can have done dozens of these things and you're still not sure when you toe the line of a marathon if you're going to make the end or not.
It's funny. I've always said that like certain races, when you hit a certain mileage is when you know, right? Like when it used to be half marathons, once I hit 10 miles, I was finishing it no matter what. I knew it and like a light switch hit, right? Marathon, it was always after mile 20. You're not doing 20 and quitting. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I guess I'm trying to think 100 miler. I was going to say 90, but you proved that's not true.
Well, it's different. It differs from every person. There is some truth to if you do any distance enough times, you have some sense of what your body and mind will go through. Like it's not familiar, but you know what to expect. So like for me, for 100 miler, I know once I get to like, so putting aside the bad nacho experience from a couple of years ago, once I get to like 75 miles, I know it's very doable, barring getting hit by a truck or eaten by a bear or something.
Listen, at mile 75, sometimes getting eaten by a bear is like an option you'd be willing to take.
True.
Right?
Or at that point, you're hallucinating and seeing bears charging out from the woods.
Oh, what's your best hallucination?
Oh, I'm gonna be a letdown on this one. It's nothing exciting. It was my very first my very first hamster wheel, Celeste. It was, probably 3 o'clock in the morning, pitch dark, exhausted, hadn't slept. And I turned to the right and I saw probably like a 10-foot size loaf of white bread. I'm pretty sure it was one of those fallen birch trees, one of the white birch trees when you're returning from the out and back and it's maybe half mile to the hill.
Yep.
And there's a massive loaf of white bread. Yep. That's as exotic as I get.
That might be the most amazing thing I've ever heard. Because it's so that's amazing. White bread.
White bread.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now, do you eat white bread?
I mean, at races and stuff, if that's what they're serving, but at home, no. At home, I try to do the whole grain, crunchy stuff.
Is there eggs in bread?
There can be, but you can also make them without. There's tons of options. We just polished off. So I made a loaf of bread in my bread machine Sunday that gave us, a dinner side last night and tonight. So there's tons of ways to do it with alternate ingredients.
So my husband only eats whole grain. He doesn't eat any white carbs at all. So we always and I'm a little princess that only eats white bread because I don't like food that has birdseed in it. So I'm a child. I mean, I'll eat some like a honey wheat or something like that. I don't mind, but yeah, I'm really picky.
Okay.
And all I can think now is like white bread.
And it was like this uncut white loaf. It wasn't in a bag or anything. It was just sitting there facing me. I was like, oh, okay.
I mean, that's the best kind, right? The homemade kind, or like if you go to a bakery and get like the fresh bread.
They're the best kind. Yes.
There's a bakery near me in Cromwell that makes, and that's where I get my husband's bread. They make loaves of bread that is just so good. Oh, so good. Anyway. All right. So let's talk about I guess it's last week now?
Yeah, just last week.
Yeah, last week. What did you do last week?
So I returned to the Across the Years race out in Arizona. So it's called Across the Years. It starts the last, like December 28th or something like that. And it continues through the new year and finishes in the first few days of January. So it was another 6-day race on the same 1.4 mile loop. It's in a sports complex in Peoria where the Seattle Mariners and the Padres practice. So the course basically runs kind of like around ballparks and through concession stand areas. So it's not trail. It's not out in the desert. It's a very tame, contained environment. But I got to tell you, it's great for the amenities. There's like a bazillion bathrooms. There's tons of places to nap and to rest and get food. So, but that's where it was my second time running that one. And I was grateful for the chance to come back and do it again.
How many miles did you hit? Because I was stalking you, but
this time I hit 373 point something. So it's funny. The year prior I did 377 miles. I was just like 3 loops shy of reaching what I did the first time. And it's funny, you think over the course of 6 days how close you can get to the same mileage.
That is pretty impressive. I mean, that's consistency, right?
Yeah. I was hoping for a bit more. The first year I did it, I had a great first day, okay second day, crappy third day, okay fourth day, but then like fifth day was one of the best days of my running. Like your body suddenly wakes up and says, okay, we're going to do it this way again. We can do that. And then I had this like last 2-day surge last year. That surge did not come this year. I had to fight for every loop the last couple of days on this one.
Yeah, but you weren't feeling well towards the end, right? Like, didn't you get a cold or something?
I thought it was a cold. I'm pretty sure it was just running on the dust behind the ball along the ball fields. You're breathing a lot of dust and crap for several days. I'm pretty sure it was that versus a cold. And my nose is just clearing now from all the red and brown gunk from the.
But also cool.
Yeah.
I did an ultra once at the Beehive Stadium in New Britain.
Oh wow.
Yeah, we rented the stadium. Well, it was during COVID, so they couldn't have games.
Okay.
So my friend rented the stadium, and there was maybe like 20, 30 of us. It was very small because of COVID, but we ran on ultra around the baseball field.
Really cool.
It was a very cool experience. Now, you got me interested. I kind of am thinking about I should do this race one of these days.
You'd like it. It's definitely like you have to go in knowing you're going to sleep because no one can run 6 days straight without sleep. It's a very social thing. So similar to Notchview, like there's a whole section where people set their tents up because it's such a short loop. You're seeing people all the time, every day of the week. So there's different distance. You can do the 6-day, you can do like a 3-day, you can do a 200 mile, a 100 mile, a 24-hour, and you can choose which days you start. So all throughout the week, every morning at 9 o'clock, there's a new batch of runners out there to kind of, enliven the course. You'd like it as long as you can deal with the tedium and the going around in circles and circles for so long.
See, I'm good at that though.
Yeah.
And I'm like, my insanity is different. So I'm like, I can entertain myself no matter where I am.
And you also make a trip out of it then. You really should. And there's tons of stores and restaurants nearby. And my strategy was I rented a hotel room, right, which was probably 0.4 of a mile away. So every evening when I was done with my running stint, I'd walk back to the hotel, shower, and at the least just get off my feet for a few hours, maybe try to catch an hour or two of sleep, which was hard to do because everything hurt. And then wake up early in the morning before sunrise and hobble back out there and just pick things up. So I think you'd have fun with it.
Yeah, I'm seriously thinking about it because this year, obviously I'm doing the Old Faithfuls that I do every year, but I'm kind of thinking about branching out now. My oldest graduated college last month.
Oh, wow. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yay.
The middle one only has one more year. And then I've got one more he's in high school. So it's like, I don't want to say I'm not needed, but I'm not as needed at home, where I have a little bit more freedom now, and I'm starting to get used to this. Like, okay, I can do things like go away for a weekend and, so I'm looking for adventures, I guess.
If running loops in a baseball stadium environment is an adventure, it is to us, apparently. I say go for it.
I mean, it is. Okay, now, while I'm thinking of this, because, my mind's all over the place. What's your favorite race?
My favorite race is there's a trail marathon in the Catskill Mountains of New York called the Catskill.
I knew you were going to say that.
You knew it. Yeah, that was long been my favorite. That was my first, I know this is East Coast running. This is my first East Coast mountain trail race where there's legit climbs and nice views and it's super, super technical. And I went out the first year with a couple of friends, and I had all these great visions of, hiking the mountain and having these wonderful vistas across the Catskill Mountains. Instead, it was cold and rainy and windy and socked in with fog and cloud. It was miserable. And I was unhappy. And I texted my two friends to say, hey, I'm dropping. I'm cold. I can't get warm. This is miserable. But the text wouldn't go through because there's no cell service in the mountains there. So I forced myself to go to the next aid station, grabbed a couple of, I want to say it was Nutter Butters.
Oh, yum.
That break and the sugar. And I was like, you know what? I can push through the next aid station. I can stick it out. And I stuck it out. And all the lessons I learned from that first really hard race made it my favorite marathon. And I've come back almost every year since then, barring the year I had surgery. But that's my favorite race. And I do not miss it. I will not miss that one again.
You have that tattoo also.
I do, right? One leg has the hamster wheel, the other wheel has the cat's tail on the calf. Yep.
Mine is, I have anchor down on one calf, but my other one is ACOTAR. The other calf is books. So,
okay.
I don't plan these things out well. I just kind of random.
I'm probably, but they're thoughtful. I mean, I know some people do tattoos for different reasons, right? I've been doing them since my surgery comeback because I like storytelling. And to me, this is the artwork on my body is another way to tell the stories of what I'm doing and what I've been through as a human being. So that's how I see them.
Oh, I love that. Because tattoos are really, they're personal. Whether it's, I like this design, so I'm getting, because I have jokes, and then I have serious things. I have books. I have
and running and friends, right?
Yeah, I have my kids' names. I have my dogs. I have, and stupid shit too. I have you met Danielle tattooed above my ass because it's hilarious. I have a butterfly because my friend Jackie's afraid of butterflies.
That's so funny.
Yeah. And I'm doing a superhero arm sleeve that I've been working on. But I love the fact that it's a story, right?
Yep. You've got a lot of themes going. That's great.
I do. Awesome. Well, but I'm all over the place, so it makes sense.
That actually, you know what? I think our approach to our ink, Celeste, totally reflects our personalities.
Right? It really does.
It's so funny.
That is one thing I love about races too, is I like looking at people's ink.
Yes.
I love it.
It is so much a part of I don't know much about other sports, but at least in the running community, whether it's trail or road, there are so many tattoos. You fit right in.
Yeah. And I love looking, because sometimes you'll see something, you'll be like, how, because these artists, some of them, you're just like, how did somebody create that? And what's the story behind it? That's when I was talking to you about coming on here. That's one of the reasons I like doing this podcast, is I just love people's stories.
Yes.
And whether you find inspiration or something speaks to you, because you never know what you say or do, how it will affect somebody.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
At the across the years I was just at, there was an older woman who I totally recognized from last year. And she's slow, but she walks the entire 6 days. She takes her time. And probably on day 3 this year, I finally said, hey, so-and-so, you were here last year, right? She's like, yes, I was. And we talked for a few minutes and I introduced myself. And from that point on, we knew each other by first name. And we connected on Facebook just a few days ago. And she made a comment on my story about it along the lines of, you were very kind every time you passed me, and know that it means a lot. Aww. And that just reinforces what you're saying, Celeste, right? That the support we give each other out there, it matters. the words we say and the actions we display for each other while we're doing these things, those matter and help make the community better.
It really, and you don't know. Like,
No.
I had someone like message me, this is a couple years ago now, and just be like, I started running because I see all your stories.
Oh, really?
And I just ran my first 5K. And I was like, oh my God, like, and who knew? You know what I mean? This is someone I knew from high school that I haven't really, like, we're on Facebook, but I haven't talked to in, 15, 20 years. And he's like, yeah, I started running because I saw your stories.
That's awesome.
You don't know. Or you see someone out there and they're struggling and you talk to them and then that gives them the boost. Or it happens to me, where I'll be struggling or something and then somebody will tell me their story and I'm like, oh, all right, yeah, and it'll hit something where it's one of the reasons I love this community so much. We're so lucky to be a part of it.
Yes, we are. Totally.
And I also like how all the different personalities come in, right? Like, you are much more of a calming person than I am.
Probably. Right? I think you're right.
Yeah. Like, but that calming energy is very positive and can help, when someone's out there, like, just that, because you're always positive. You're always, you give that good vibe off, and it's a calming, relaxing thing that can help motivate people.
And likewise, when I said that some of my best memories are in the dark of the morning with you shouting my name as we pass each other at Hamster Wheel or Notchville, wherever, that is also just as much of a positive jolt as anything. Like, imagine, Celeste, if a race had only Celestes, and then by contrast, only all Michaels, they'd both be really not fun races in their own right. Right? We need all the personalities out there to make these things fun, and that's what's great about them.
Yeah, it really is. It's bringing together all these amazing people doing, let's face it, amazing shit.
Yes.
And, like, just changing lives. Like, I think I've shared when I had, like, postpartum and it was really, really bad, and I suffer from severe depression and anxiety and all this shit. And, like, running saved my life. Like, it really did. And, like, this community I found safety in. And as I talk to people and learn their stories, I find that that's a common theme, right? Whether it's coming back from recovery, a health scare, some kind of trauma, like, just this community, that's what we're all about here. I love it.
100%. 100%.
Well, I am very honored that you gave me an hour of your time, because you are, again, an amazing human being. And I don't like human beings. So I would rate you up there. I would say with dogs, but I know you, so I'm going to rate you up with cats.
Thank you.
Because I know you're a cat person. No, really. Michael, you're one of the best people I know. And I'm really grateful to have you in my life.
Well, thank you, Celeste. And I mean this sincerely. I'm glad our paths crossed. And every time I see you and your gang set up with a tent at one of our races or hear you're going to be there, I just know it's going to be a fun event. And I know I can count on you for your friendship and support and some laughs there. And you're a pretty important part of the running world to me. So keep doing what you're doing. And I appreciate the chance to spend some time here with you. This was awesome.
Thank you. Okay, and now I'm going to go cry.
Don't cry.
No, seriously, thank you, Michael. Your story is just amazing, and I'm really grateful that you shared it.
Thanks.
All right, any final words?
Maybe a theme we touched on, but I often end my posts with the hashtag live urgently. And it's more than just, someday that's called, you can wake up tomorrow morning and not be able to run. Just that mindset applies to your career that you choose. It applies to spending time with your family and your loved ones. Tell people what you think about them. If you care about them, tell them that. Do meaningful work, because again, this could all end tomorrow, or what you love, you might not be able to do anymore. So wake up each day and make your decisions based on that. So that's the one piece of preachy advice I would advise your listeners.
Yeah, I love it. Live urgently. I'm completely going to steal it for this episode because that's.
I expect a tattoo with live urgency on it at some point, Celeste.
Do it. Oh my God, that's a great tattoo.
We should get matching tattoos for that.
Where am I going to put it? Immediately.
We'll take that conversation offline.
Oh, I know exactly where it's going. Yes, we are doing this. We are doing it.
I could see it happening.
Yeah. Oh yeah. 100%.
All right. Okay.
All right. Well, thank you, Michael. I'm going to cut out and let you get back to your cats and your beautiful